Hello everyone, I'm Emily with Chipped and Polished, and today I want to share with you the makeover for this French Provincial chest of drawers. I found this on Facebook Marketplace for free and I was so thrilled to find it. And it was in near perfect condition aside from a few miscellaneous scratches and one little chunk of missing veneer, and I knew that it would be a really great piece to flip. I started off by removing all of the hardware and then getting it cleaned up. I know a lot of people like to boil their hardware in vinegar. Some people will use Barkeeper's Friends, but I prefer baking soda and lemon juice, just mixing it into a paste and then letting it sit for a few hours. While my hardware was soaking in that baking soda and lemon juice mixture, I went ahead and started cleaning the dresser. And here I'm cleaning this with a 50-50 mixture of water and vinegar and then a few drops of Dawn. Scrubbing it with that microfiber cloth, and then I'll rinse it away with clean water. After it dried, I started scuff sanding with a 180 grit sandpaper. And for those of you who don't know, scuff sanding is just meant to give your paint something to kind of grip onto. So if you have like a super slick, shiny surface, it's not going to grip on. But when you're scuff sanding, it has a tooth of some sort that it grips onto so it adheres better. I typically scuff sand with any grit from 150 to 220. A lot of people prefer 220, but I feel like something in that middle ground gives you a little bit better of that tooth. I mentioned that this had one little piece of missing veneer on one of the feet. So I'm just going to mix up Bondo to take care of that. And Bondo is just an all-purpose putty that comes in two different parts. Once the two parts are mixed together, this is going to harden up pretty fast. It's going to be sandable in about 15 minutes. Once that was dry, I went over it again with that 180 grit sandpaper to smooth everything out. After a few hours of soaking, my hardware was ready to go ahead and be cleaned up. And you can see that with just a little bit of scrubbing, it goes from that dull, gross color to something that is a lot cleaner, a lot prettier. And I just scrub this with a toothbrush, and then I go over it one more time with a drop of Dawn just to make sure I don't have any residue on there. Once that was dry, I did want to make sure that the color was even across all 5 pieces of hardware, so I went ahead and gave it a coat of this gold metallic spray paint from Rust-Oleum. Now, I had polled my followers on Instagram and asked, should I paint this powder blue or sage green? And then I had the thought of, well, I don't really want to buy paint. I can mix it up with what I've got. So then I ended up blending a few different greens together, and I was going to try for an almost ombre blended look. And try as I might, I just didn't like it. I thought, it's going to pull together with a second coat and everything. And I just kept going and it didn't look right. So I ended up going with this mint green color. And when I sampled it, it looked sage green, which was what my followers had wanted and voted for. But it ended up more mint as it dried. And I ended up being really okay with it. I thought it turned out really pretty. I will definitely do more pieces that are actually sage in the future though. Because I just kind of mixed what I had on hand, I don't have an exact color recipe because I just kind of mixed until I got what I wanted. But this is all Fusion Mineral paints, which I love because their paint is self-leveling, it adheres really well, and it has a built-in top coat. I hope that you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, please give this video a thumbs up, comment, let me know what you think, subscribe for more furniture flipping videos. After brushing on 2 coats of this paint, I wanted to add a little bit of extra fun to the details. So this is Rub and Buff in the Grecian gold color, and I dry brushed along the edges and then went a little bit thicker along the lines around the drawers. And if you're not familiar with dry brushing, it's where you would dip your brush into the paint, or in this case, gilding wax, and take off all of the excess so you're left with just the barest amount on there, and then you're basically dusting those raised edges. Since the two gold colors were a little bit different, I did go ahead and use that same rub and buff on the hardware. And then afterward, I just gave it a spray coat of shellac to make sure that it was durable and it wasn't going to fade whenever the drawers are pulled. Next, it was time to go ahead and seal everything with a clear coat. And I use Minwax's polyacrylic in a satin sheen. I like to pour mine on a paper plate, and then I have this sponge that I dip it in. It works best on flat areas. So once I got to the curved edges, I kind of cleaned it up with that synthetic brush again, just to make sure I didn't have any drips or air bubbles. And I did 3 coats of this, and in between each one, I sanded with a 600 grit sandpaper, just to knock back any little bits that were in there, make sure I had a perfectly smooth surface. And once that was dry, it was time to reinstall the hardware. This is where you can really start to see things coming together. Next was this drawer liner that I found on Amazon. I thought that it was the perfect complement to the color and the gold. So I lined this first one up and then cut off the excess. When I start to lay my paper down inside, I peel back one corner, expand it to the one side, and then slowly smooth it back while pulling the paper back. Here I'm using a transfer tool from Redesign with Prima, but you can also use a credit card or something similar. And once everything is smoothed out and I'm sure that I don't have any air bubbles, go ahead and cut off the excess around the edges. Last but not least, I grabbed Howard's Feed and Wax. This is just to condition the drawers, make them shine, smell good. Here is one more look at the before. And here's the after. Even though it didn't quite turn out the way I had envisioned it in the first place, I think it turned out amazing. I love the mint color paired with those gold details. It feels like the hardware just shines now. To me, this piece is classic and feminine while also being unique. I also don't think I could have chosen a more perfect drawer liner. The colors are just spot on. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please go ahead and hit that like button, comment, let me know what you think, and subscribe for more furniture flipping videos.